In the war between Russia and Ukraine, President Biden today meeting with his national security team. Also, the United Nations holding a very rare emergency session to address the growing crisis in Ukraine. Unprecedented sanctions have already been imposed on Russia, and more are on the table. But so far, sanctions alone have not deterred Russian President Vladimir Putin. NBC's Alice Barr has been covering every move from Washington, and she joins us now. Alice, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Jay. As global tensions rise over the war in Ukraine and Russia's president references his nuclear arsenal, President Biden today was asked if Americans should be worried about nuclear war. He firmly answered no. Today in the Ukraine crisis, destruction and diplomacy. Ukrainian officials pushing for a ceasefire in talks with a Russian delegation, though making little headway today. Here in Washington, President Biden speaking with top allies and his national security team. That after rolling out tougher sanctions against Russia's central bank, the latest in a global economic assault that sent the Russian economy reeling, its currency collapsing. Germany joining other Western nations sending weapons to help Ukraine. As Moscow is increasingly cut off from the rest of the world, concerns are growing over how President Vladimir Putin will react.
Well, you don't want a madman backed into a corner with nothing to lose, especially if that madman has nuclear weapons.
Already, Putin has put his country's nuclear deterrent forces on high alert. President Biden refusing to respond in kind. The United Nations General Assembly holding its first emergency meeting in decades to condemn the Russian aggression and seek peace.
If Ukraine does not survive, we cannot be surprised if democracy fails next.
Civilian casualties are mounting, with reports of massive Russian shelling and Russian troops advancing toward the capital. Ukrainian forces defying expectations, holding their ground.
They have made it very difficult for the Russians to continue to move ahead.
Across the world, an outpouring of support. Americans gathering supplies for donations, pouring Russian vodka down the drain, standing and marching with the people of Ukraine. Here on Capitol Hill, lawmakers are considering a Biden administration request to send roughly $6.5 billion in additional military and humanitarian aid to Ukraine. Jay, back to you.
Alice, aside from sanctioning Russia, which we've seen already, what else can the U.S. and its allies do here to support Ukraine, but also to undercut Russia's efforts?
Right. So we do want to note that there have also been a vast amount of military supplies and of money sent from the U.S. and from allies. We're talking a lot about the economic effects, but President Biden has made very clear no U.S. troops will be going in to fight in Ukraine. But certainly we are helping to arm Ukrainians to defend themselves. Also new of note today, the International Criminal Court says that it will open an investigation to look into possible war crimes and crimes against humanity in Ukraine. Jay.
Right. Alice Barr live tonight for What's New, reporting from our nation's capital. Alice, thank you.
We move now to new developments in a story we first brought you last night. A man is in custody tonight after he was caught on video punching a 23-year-old woman in what's being called a racially motivated attack. It happened in Akron's Highland Square neighborhood early Sunday morning. Our Brandon Simmons joins us live with more information on the man involved and the additional charges he could be facing. Brandon?
Yeah, hi, Betsy. Yeah, police called this incident outrageous and disgusting. 26-year-old Andrew Walls punching at least two women in the face, calling one of them a racial slur. And that whole incident was caught on video with many witnesses standing nearby. I want to warn you that this video can be disturbing to some people who view it. This incident happened just after midnight early Sunday. Walls can be heard in the video yelling racial slurs and getting into an altercation with some men. When Cameron Morgan walked over to try to get him to stop, he called her derogatory names before punching her in the face. Now, we also learned that Walls is now facing a second assault charge for punching a second woman right after hitting Morgan. That's the punch that happens just out of frame. Now, Morgan says she suffered a busted lip and a concussion, and she's thankful for those who stepped in to help her. And police today say they're leaving no stone unturned on this case.
Thank God, like my friends, there's so many loving and supportive people in Highland Square. Everybody who was watching had my back to the fullest.
We reached out to the FBI, and they're going to have a representative that we're going to share information with to see if this reaches something to a federal level. We're pursuing all avenues.
Now, Walls is already facing 2 assault charges and another charge for possessing a weapon while intoxicated, but police say their investigation is ongoing and additional charges could come later, including federal hate crime charges, but that's yet to be determined. Now, there have also been reports that Walls is connected to the far-right national group known as the Proud Boys. Of course, police talked about it today, but said they haven't been able to confirm that connection. That's something they're still investigating. I do know that now that he's in custody, they say he will be questioned, booked into jail, and that's something they'll look into and also ask him more questions about what happened last night. Betsy?
Well, this video went viral over the weekend, so we know there's a lot of eyeballs that will be following this along with us. All right. Thanks so much, Brandon.
Well, Betsy, many women dream about their wedding. They do so for years, starting as early as being a young girl. But envision waiting for that big day and then finding out that the dress that you've been dreaming about wearing, well, it's suddenly not available. One woman from Clyde said yes to her dream dress, but when she called the bridal shop yesterday, she found that it had gone out of business. No sign of her gown. Isabel Lawrence spoke with her today to see if she could find a solution.
And like underneath the beading, it was like all sparkle, which I really liked. I've always said like my dress has to be all sparkly.
An excited bride-to-be, Lindsay Boyer went to Candlelight Bridal in Sheffield Village in April 2021 and found her dream dress. She paid in cash right then and there for a dress off the rack and says the shop was holding on to it for her ahead of her alterations. But when she called yesterday to schedule them, she found the store listed as permanently closed online and heard this when she called.
Welcome to Verizon Wireless. Your call cannot be completed as dialed. Please check the number and dial again.
It's definitely every bride's worst nightmare. I get married in 110 days. And now I have no wedding dress, and I'm also out $1,000.
3 News went to the shop today and found it empty, door locked. Boyer says she was never given notice the shop had shut down and couldn't reach anyone when she called and sent messages. She even says the Facebook page for the shop read her message but never responded. When she checked again, that Facebook page was gone.
They just walked off the face of the earth, basically.
We spoke with a neighboring business who told us they believe the shop was initially run by a woman. When she passed away, her son took over. The last they heard, he had been evicted. We reached out to the shop and even went to the address we found for the owner's home and have not heard back. We also left a message with a company listed for leasing and management for the property. Then, an update. About 30 minutes after we knocked on that door, Boyer received a text message from the shop's owner saying he could deliver the dress to her home. 3 News will stay on this story until Boyer has her dress back. In Sheffield Village, Isabel Lawrence, 3 News.
Well, the West Side Market has been getting extra attention from Cleveland's new mayor, Justin Bibb, who pledged during the campaign last year to help revive the city-owned landmark. At his request, Cleveland City Council tonight formally proposes a set of changes at his request to help vendors and the market attract new customers.
Mark Namick has been covering the market for years now, and he breaks it all down for us. Mark?
Hey, good afternoon. The mayor is asking council to approve vendors to allow them to sell alcohol and welcome food trucks and other hot food stands. A big part of the goal is to remake the covered arcade next to the market. Now that's where you find the produce and a lot of empty stands. The city also wants to cap rent and offer more flexible leases to existing and new vendors. And the city is thinking about turning a long-ignored locker room, many people don't know it's there, on the second floor of the market into a dining area, possibly with a test kitchen. Vendors are excited by the changes and have been praising the new mayor.
Heinen's and Lucky's Market, they all serve alcohol in their establishments, and people walk around and they drink some wine. Do the same at the West Side Market. Get up with the times.
They should have done that like 30, 40 years ago to put in whatever, put it up there. That is a prime real estate to me. They can put restaurant, they can put demos, kitchen. There's so many, everybody now watching TV cooking show. That could be every chef, not just local or international.
The legislation will also make it easier for the city to raise private funds, and they're also looking for grants to do this kind of work and to better promote the market.
All right, Mark, so there's always been talk over the last few years about turning the market over to a nonprofit to run it, saying that, you know, why is the city running this market? What's the movement on that, if any?
There is still talks about that, and it's something that the Mayor Bibb and the other candidates pledged to do, to be open to it. And the idea would be to have a nonprofit run the day-to-day, the city, of course, keeping control. But what's interesting is vendors tell me they're finding, you know, the mayor and the new administration to be very receptive. They like the way things are going. They're giving them a lot of praise. So we'll see if in the end they get to passing this off to a nonprofit. Betsy?
Well, now is certainly the time to get some plans in place because, boy, spring hits. People are going to be looking for indoor, outdoor places and getting out and about. And certainly that Ohio City neighborhood is one of them. So we'll be watching.
Mark, thanks.
Coming up for us, going up, the impact of the war in Ukraine is being felt here at home, too. We're going to tell you where you're going to notice it, plus how you can help Ukraine right now.
And we're hitting the red carpet. We're going to recap the first shows of the award season, which is officially here now. That's coming up next in Pop Break.
And we had a little sunshine today, Matt. That certainly felt kind of nice.
Yeah, boy, it is feeling so much brighter and warmer. If you step into the sun, that is a sign that spring is right around the corner. We've got some great news coming up in the forecast in terms of the temperature department this evening. Not so much. We're in the 30s. We've got clouds building in. We'll discuss where those temps go all the way through the weekend. I think you're going to like it. Coming up.
Today is Money Monday, and we are focusing on the crisis in Ukraine.
Yeah, many people are asking how they can help, and we want to help you ensure that your donations are actually getting where they are supposed to go. Here locally, the Cleveland Maidan Association has a history of donating money and medical supplies to Ukraine. They're registered as a 501c nonprofit, meaning they're on record with the IRS. And if you're looking for an organization that isn't local, there are websites like Charity Navigator that rate charities based on how much of your donation goes directly to those in need.
Well, now to how the invasion is impacting us here at home. The conflict is adding to the surging energy prices already plaguing the U.S. and most of Europe. According to Bloomberg, crude oil is currently just over $96 a barrel. That is way above its normal hovering price. Experts say if oil prices rise to $120 per barrel, and some believe it will, gas prices will remain high. In fact, many saying they'll go over the $4 mark, and that would also mean that inflation would likely be here for the majority of 2022, and that would slow economic growth for the entire rest of the season. Many analysts say regular gas could be, as I mentioned, $4 a gallon soon, but in some parts of the U.S., they're already paying well over that. Meanwhile, many Americans are spending 40% more on their heating oil this season and just general heating costs for their homes. That's just compared to the heating price from a year ago. Nothing when it comes to energy these days is cheap or even where they were a year ago. Everything is overinflated, and really the short-term models have these prices going up, not even leveling off where they are, but going up.
And that's oil and gasoline. Food is also going up. I mean, there's sticker shock at the grocery store.
Yeah, if you can find what you're looking for at the grocery store. We're seeing more and more empty shelves as we go on. I mean, when you think about it, everything needs to be transported. And, you know, if it's made somewhere else, no matter where it is, even if it's 60 miles from here, it still needs to be transported. And someone's got to pay for those transportation costs, which are rising. So we really are seeing increases, not just in energy and the fuel sector, but just about everything. If it spends any time at all on a truck, you're going to pay more for it.
It's a little nerve-wracking. One thing that is free, though, nice weather. Especially great to get outside. Just take a walk and enjoy the fresh air. Got that little bit of sunshine going on today. Matt, certainly some good stuff to talk about as far as the forecast goes.
Yeah, for sure. Looking forward. I know we're still stuck in February one more day, but looking forward to March. Boy, the numbers just take off. You know, we all know it warms up in March, but looking at some of the numbers, especially last couple of years, we've had some really warm Marches around here.
Yeah. I'll take another one if we can get it.
Right.
I am going to do you a solid today. I'm going to give you your weather word. Just it's a softball. It is so easy. Energy, because that's what we've been talking about in this block. So I hear you use energy just about every day in the forecast anyhow.
Absolutely.
So
yeah.
This will be low effort on your part today.
Oh, I use that word every day. That's great, Jay. Thank you for that. A little easy Monday around here. All right, let's talk numbers. Last March 2021, was a mild one. We had 7 days in the 50s for highs. We had 9 days that made it into the 60s for highs, and 5 days that made it into the 70s. If you go back, I don't know if you guys remember this, but 2012 was super warm, right? We had a ton of days in the 70s, even some 80s. We had 3 days in a row in the 80s. The trees were blooming by then. It doesn't happen every March, though. I want to keep that in mind because that doesn't mean we're going to be warm. It does look like we've got a pretty chilly pattern overall over the next 10 days, but we've got some bumps of hope here in the forecast. Boy, I want to start big picture. Spring versus winter is ongoing. This is going to be the pattern all week. Cold Arctic air off towards the north. You notice we're right in between. They're going to enjoy a very spring-like week down south of us across a good portion of the country. Widespread 60s and 70s down there. Dividing that line is a waffly frontal boundary. Get used to this as well. We've got just kind of a little wavy boundary. We have some cold air, warm air, all mixing together, and that boundary is going to be fluctuating over northeast Ohio this week. Notice temperatures 60s down to the south. We're stuck in the 30s here, but we've got 50 in Chicago. We may make a run at 50 degrees tomorrow. That frontal boundary is still down to our south. So you notice we go 31 downtown, travel down 77 to Dover. It's sitting at 45 right now. So that demarcation line between the cold and warm is right over northeast Ohio. It lifts north tonight as a warm front. We're going to head up into the upper 30s tomorrow morning for daybreak. National Design Mart hour by hour forecast. So you notice the clouds will be around. Tomorrow throughout the day, we should make a push at 50 degrees. That ought to give you some good energy down in the south with the warm up. Down there, you can see temperatures trying to make it all the way up to the lakeshore. Can't rule out some showers as that boundary will be right over late in the day tomorrow. Doesn't look to be widespread. And then we're talking a bigger warm up after that. So as we go into the weekend, we're going to keep our eye on a little cold spell on Thursday. But on into the weekend, we bring some much warmer air in here. It is going to come with some rain, though. We'll talk a little bit more about that system coming up in the next half hour. Union Home Mortgage 7-day forecast. We're down to 30s on Thursday, but then we bounce back, Jay, 50s and 60s this weekend. Should feel spring-like around here.
Well, 60s is worth the price of admission, so we'll stick around. Thanks, Matt. Coming up next, award season is here. RKR Cotton has the biggest moments from two big shows that took place this weekend. Plus, we're going to hop in the way back machine for today's Worth the Watch. Betsy, you may want to pay Close attention.
Oh, no.
What's new? Coming right back.
Why do I have a bad feeling
Are you
when you
nervous
say
right now?
that? Why do you say that?
You're nervous right now, aren't you?
Is it like flowers and...
Yep, I do. Yep.
Well, I hope you have your fancy clothes out because the award season is officially underway with two big shows taking place over the weekend, and our entertainment reporter Kiera Cotton was taking notes.
That's right. She has the biggest moments from the NAACP and SAG Awards. Kiera, here's what's poppin'.
Red carpets, accomplishments, and the entertainment industry's biggest and brightest stars can only mean one thing: award season. Over the weekend, the NAACP Awards and the SAG Awards both took place in California. The NAACP Awards aired Saturday and were hosted by Anthony Anderson for the 9th time. As for the winners, Will Smith won Outstanding Actor for King Richard. Issa Rae took home the win for Outstanding Actress in a Comedy Series. Netflix's The Harder They Fall won Outstanding Motion Picture. And American Idol alum Jennifer Hudson won big, taking home the awards for Outstanding Actress in a Motion Picture for Respect and Entertainer of the Year. There was also a royal moment. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle were honored with the President's Award in recognition of special achievement and distinguished public service. Now, on to the SAG Awards. The show opened with a reunion from the cast of Broadway's Hamilton and quickly moved on to the winners, including Succession and Ted Lasso, who dominated the top prizes. The cast of Coda took home Outstanding Performance. Netflix's Squid Game took home 3 wins, making it the first foreign language series to win a SAG Award. Michael Keaton almost missed his award with a trip to the restroom. And last but certainly not least, Helen Mirren was honored with the SAG Life Achievement Award.
Alrighty, friends, the SAG and the NAACP Awards are in the books, and those were just a few highlights from both nights. We have a full list of all the winners from both shows up now at WKYC.com. Jay and Betsy?
Can you imagine if Michael Keaton's name was called and he's just, everybody's waiting? Where is he?
It's happened before.
He's using the restroom.
When you gotta go,
you gotta know when you're nominated. Like, you gotta remember what you're nominated for.
Is my award coming up here in a moment? I can hold it.
Maybe he did it on purpose. He didn't think he was gonna win.
Yeah. Now, if it was like Will Ferrell, and he came running up with like toilet paper attached to his shoe, that would have been a funny moment. Yeah. But Michael Keaton was there and all is well. Thanks, Key. Sure, appreciate it. Okay, this is part of the program where we show you Worth the Watch. It's always a video that makes us smile or something. And we had one special planned for Friday.
Okay.
I was live at the Big Ten Championships track and field at Spire. Yeah. And with the track and field events, I thought, the best athletes in the country, I thought it would be a good time to remind everybody that our very own Betsy Kling, once upon a time, was a pretty good jumper herself. She was a pretty good athlete. So I have a relationship with her father, Tim. Love you, Tim. Great man. He was kind enough to give me a videotape that I had asked him for, and Betsy's really sweating and she's squirming now.
I broke out in a cold sweat earlier. Now I'm freaking out full on.
Our Worth the Watch takes us back to Betsy's senior year in high school when she was a high jumper. Now here she is. Betsy, don't blink. Oh, she starts on the grass. God. Now I want you to watch this run up. Now watch here, folks. Little wiggle on the bar. But my favorite part of that is the reaction. I don't think you expected to clear that 5'2" height.
5'2", I mean.
I think was anybody more surprised than you?
Because it was bouncing. Why are we doing this?
We're doing this. It was supposed to be because we were at the track and field championships on Friday. Well, but listen, my son is the jumps coach at Rutgers, long jumper and high jumper himself. And I thought because Corey was in town for the championships, I would have him view your tape and give a solid critique of your efforts. So let's take Corey's critique if we could.
All right, she's back in the grass, got a couple steps in the grass. It's going to rattle her a little bit. Good start, okay. Losing a little bit of speed, throws that arm up. Good rotation. Look at that over the bar. Got a little bar love because I see it shaking, but that's a good executed jump. Look at her. She's really surprised. She just cleared that. Great jump, Betsy.
How was her run up though?
Run up was a little timid. We could have brought more speed, but just with the height and the length, you got yourself in a good position to jump, and you just rotate over the bar so nicely. It was great.
Corey really was impressed. When I showed him that video for the first time, he's like, wait, is that Bets? And I said, yeah. And he goes, Dad, she's not a bad jumper.
There were better videos, I think.
Well, Dad gave me a note that said it was cued to the best jumps. So I looked through them, and that was the highest height you cleared, so we went with that. Thank you for letting us have that moment and relive that jump. We want to see your fun videos at home, videos that would make us smile. We do them every day at 5:26 or so here on What's New. So send us your video on our 3 What's New Facebook page and submit an explanation what the video is, where it was taken, and who knows, your video might air right here on our daily Worth the Watch segment. We love these videos. They always make us smile.
I saw the VHS tapes out, and I was like, what's going on with the VHS tapes? Thanks, Jay. Fantastic. I'm going to go burn those now.
Your dad's the best.
Well, the clock is ticking tonight, everybody. The players and owners hopefully coming to an agreement, at least soon, right? The start of the baseball season is on the line at this point. We have the latest coming up.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that. Plus, prepare for Paczki's Fat Tuesday is tomorrow. And our Mike Polk Jr. is in Parma to preview the big day. He's going to tell us why the treats are such a fan favorite here in Cleveland.
Because they're awesome.
He looks ready for it.
It was pretty good. Yes, I do. I did.
And now, live from WKYC Studios, this is What's New.
Let's get you caught up on 3 things you need to know at 5:30. Ukrainian officials are pushing for a ceasefire as it talks with Russian delegates. However, little progress was made during today's talks. There are reports that Russian troops continue advancing towards the capital city of Kyiv, and civilians in Ukraine are being killed. Meanwhile, President Biden spoke with top allies today and his national security team. Also, the United Nations General Assembly held its first emergency meeting in decades to condemn what the Russians are currently doing, and also in an effort to seek peace.
We have an update now on the assault that took place in Akron over the weekend. 26-year-old Andrew Walls turned himself into Akron police this afternoon. He's facing 2 assault charges and another for possessing a weapon while intoxicated. He's the suspect in what's being called a racially motivated attack, which was captured on video. We want to warn you, some of this video is disturbing. It happened just after midnight on Sunday. He can be heard yelling racial slurs and getting into an altercation with other men. Then Cameron Morgan walked over to try to get him to stop, but instead he called her derogatory names and then punched her in the face. Morgan says she has a busted lip and a concussion. We've also learned that Walls is accused of punching a second woman, which was just off camera. Police are also looking into reports that Walls is connected to the Proud Boys.
Well, this morning, former Cleveland police officer Matthew Piter was sentenced on gross sexual imposition charges. Today, a judge sentencing him to 3 years probation. He also has to register as a Tier 1 sex offender. You may remember Piter was found not guilty of rape earlier this month. The trial was connected to charges involving 2 separate accusations dating back to 2017 and 2019. And with that, we welcome you back to What's New on this very sunny Monday. Jay Crawford along with Betsy Clayton. It's amazing what a little sunshine can do for your disposition. I mean, the temperatures were okay. It wasn't frigid, but it could have been warmer. But you can overlook that on a beautiful sunny day.
You can.
It changes everything.
And it's a blessing and a curse at the same time, because if you're inside, still enjoying all the bright light, you really start to see how dirty your windows are.
That's why they call it spring cleaning.
It's brutal.
Yeah,
like
it's time.
I'm not ready to go out yet. All right, 20 days. That's all we have, everybody. 20 days till the first day of spring. This is a picture of Squires Castle, one of the most picturesque places in Northeast Ohio, taken by Denise Andrews. And I do want to clarify something. The jump was from my sophomore year.
Yeah, so it was really, really young Betsy Clayton.
At 5'2", because you said 5'2" was the best jump, and I was like, well, I did better than that. But,
well, at your height, what was your top jump? Do you remember?
I did over 5'7" in practice.
That's wonderful.
5'6".
That's wonderful. That's a very good jump.
That's okay.
Okay, let's go to our top talker now. And with each passing day, with no agreement between Major League Baseball owners and the Players Union, the start of the 2022 season beginning to look like it's in serious jeopardy. Jim Donovan has been following the negotiations closely. He joins us now live on What's New. Jimmy, the lockout has really kind of been back page news because baseball's still a month away, and, you know, if it doesn't affect games, it's kind of out of sight, out of mind. But the owners now have this deadline, and it looks like it's going to come and go in which they needed an agreement in order to preserve opening day. So it's getting real now.
It really is. No doubt the negotiations go on. Incidentally, Betsy, you would have just cleared me at 5'7". You would have just gotten over me at 5'7".
I've thought about that before.
Yeah. On a lighter note. All right, let's go to what's going on down in Florida. Lots of meetings, no resolution yet, and a hard deadline. The hard deadline says that if they don't have an agreement by today, then they're going to start canceling games. There was an early leaking report coming out of those meetings today that said that owners brought to the players this theme, saying, hey, listen, if we don't have an agreement by today, not only are we going to cancel games, we're going to cancel the whole month's worth of games in the month of April and possibly look to start the baseball season in May. The players feel that was kind of a threat to them, and the meetings went on. They're in a break right now, but they are going to come back to the bargaining table. How that deadline is handled as the day goes along. In other words, if they continue to meet, that's a good sign that maybe they are making some progress. What are the big issues? The competitive competitive balance tax is one of the biggest issues. That is the quasi-salary cap. The players want that to remain high. That forces ownership of teams to keep spending money. Also, the minimum salary. Right now, the players are looking and demanding a minimum salary of $715,000 a year at the bottom rung of making it to the major leagues. The owners have upped their offer to $615,000, so there's a $100,000 difference right there. And then early arbitration for young stars of the game. They call them the Super Twos. In the past, they have not been eligible to go to arbitration and make more money. The players want that to be eradicated to allow players to get arbitration and up their salaries that way. Those are only three of the major issues. There are many issues. Here's the deal about the April cancellation of games. If they canceled the whole month, Betsy and Jay, it has long been believed and proved out in the owners' books that in the month of April, Major League-wide, whether in L.A. or in Cleveland or New York, owners pay out more money than they take back in ticket revenue. So they're losing money because of bad weather. Kids aren't out of school yet. It's not a good month business-wise for them. The players want no part of that. Remember, once they start canceling games, they're not going to make them up once they get an agreement. It's lost salary for the players. They miss their first paycheck in early to late March when the regular season would begin. And here in Cleveland, that is still scheduled for March 31st for the new Guardians.
Wow.
Jimmy, oftentimes there's a PR battle that's going on here. They're trying to win in the court of public opinion, but ultimately you have billionaires fighting with millionaires, and fans are the ones that take the brunt.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Not a good look for baseball right now. Here's the other thing. There's a big anniversary coming up on April 15th. Can you imagine that? This is the day that Jackie Robinson broke the color barrier. Major League Baseball always celebrates that. Can you imagine if we do not have any baseball on April 15th because, as you say, billionaires are fighting with millionaires, and we don't honor such a historic day like that?
Yeah, it's not a good look for sure. Jimmy, thanks. We appreciate it.
Okay.
Still ahead for us, tomorrow is Fat Tuesday, which means it's time to get your fill of the Paczki. We are live at Rudy's Strudel as they prepare, and why, we all know it is a big Cleveland staple.
That's mine right there. That's my order. I'll take one of every. He's already got it.
It is.
He's already got it.
It's got your name on
See, he
it.
knows. Mike knows.
Put 2 prunes on there for Jay.
Then some familiar faces will be making appearances at the Cleveland Auto Show. We're going to tell you who and how you might get to meet them when What's New comes right back.
Kitchen area, you know?
Whatever, yeah, by the way.
Yeah. How much time? Hey, I got you. Sorry.
Well, the whole discussion during the break was all about time change and how quick the time change is upon us. Matt, you said what?
Yeah, like 12 days. We're talking 7:30 sunsets.
That's when it gets real.
We don't spring forward this weekend after that.
All right.
I mean, you can't help but see how high the sun is still in the sky right now.
Oh.
It was full on dark just a few weeks
not that long ago. So
Right,
really,
right.
2 weeks from now, that picture will be 7:40 instead of 5:40 or 6:40.
6:40,
right?
yeah.
Okay, I'll take it. I'll take it.
Yeah.
Let's get there.
Our goal is to try to confuse you as much as possible during this weathercast, if that's okay. Live look there, just beautiful. Ongoing sunset. And again, the sun angle changing as well, so eventually it'll start to set over Lake Erie per our 3 News view, which is kind of nice. Let's talk more nice numbers, shall we? Average highs next couple weeks. We're gaining about 2 degrees per week. So by next Monday, our midpoint, our average is 44. And then we exponentially grow through the month of March as that sun angle really ramps up. We're talking a couple weeks from now, we'll have average highs in the 50s. Average doesn't mean we get there, right? And it doesn't mean, it gets colder than that either. We can go either way of that. In terms of temperatures today, though, right near average. Notice highs today, generally mid and or low and mid 40s across the area. New Philly at 45. We're in the 39 degree category in Cleveland. Ashtabula was chilly, sitting close to the lake, which remains about 70% frozen right now. Still dealing with some colder temperatures as you approach the lake. Partly cloudy skies tonight. We've got some clouds now. They'll clear out. We'll bring in more clouds. We've got rising temperatures tonight, though, as a warm front slowly makes its way through the area. And look at the difference. This is truly spring, 60s and 70s all week long across all the areas you see down towards south. We're in between, so it's not unbearably cold, and they've got that up in Canada, even New England dealing with some pretty cold temperatures. But this frontal boundary, it's a wavy one, and it will continue to kind of wave back and forth through northeast Ohio over the coming days. We get these little lobes of energy along it too. We're going to have really 2 clipper systems to watch. They're going to be really close to us, so we could squeeze out a couple showers tomorrow. As this approaches, there'll be another one that moves in here Wednesday night that I think does clip us with some rain and snow showers. But overall, these are going to be very quick hits. No major storm systems this week. National Design Mart hour by our forecast. Rising temps will bring us up near 50 degrees tomorrow. There's your shower chance later in the day. Notice lakeshore communities holding generally in the 30s. The wind will be coming out of the south, though, so that should keep that lake breeze at bay. Tomorrow afternoon into the evening, we'll start to clear things out. We'll do it all over again on Wednesday with highs down to the south that'll likely approach 50 degrees, a little bit chillier off towards the north, and there's your rain snow chance that moves in here later in the day on Wednesday. All eyes turn towards the weekend. That's going to be our next major system around here. A cold high pressure heads in here for Thursday, so our 50-degree temps will get knocked down temporarily Thursday, Friday, but that'll set up a storm system in the plains. Big area low pressure. We'll be on the warm side of this one, so that means rain. That rain looks to move in Saturday. Likely showers for your Saturday, more steady rain, maybe even some rumbles around here on Sunday as this storm system moves through. Good news is all the heavy snow, they've got it off towards the north. It's going to stay away from here as we remain on the mild side. Union Home Mortgage 7-day forecast. Colder on Thursday, and then we warm up 50s and 60s. They're in sight for the weekend. Jay.
Beautiful, Matt. Thank you. As we wrap up Black History Month, we're remembering one of the most iconic Olympic athletes ever, Jesse Owens. Raised in Cleveland, Jesse won 4 gold medals, and his courageous appearance in the 1936 Olympic Games also sent a message to the leader of the Nazi Party. Here's Carmen Blackwell.
Celebrating Ohio's Olympic moments in Black history. Cleveland's Jesse Owens is considered one of the greatest athletes of all time, no matter the sport. Owens broke 4 world records in just one day for Ohio State, and he also earned the nickname the Buckeye Bullet. The feat is called the greatest 45 minutes ever in sport. In the 1936 Olympic Games held in Nazi Germany, Owens won 4 gold medals. That led to one of the most iconic moments in sports history. Owens saluting the American flag as Adolf Hitler looked on, single-handedly dismantling Hitler's theory of Aryan supremacy. we salute one of the all-time greats in athletic competition, Jesse Owens.
Well, still ahead for us, everybody. Denzel Ward is at it again. We're going to tell you which company he's helping this time.
And Mike Polk Jr. is live at Rudy's Strudel in Parma as they prepare thousands of Paczkis. And I know you have one for me on all of them on the menu, but Betsy wants one as well.
Yeah, please, custard.
Absolutely. She's welcome to one of yours. I took your credit card before I left the station, so thank you in advance for all of these, Jay. It is Fat Tuesday Eve, everybody. I think it's Chubby Monday or something like that, Cleveland, and we are celebrating down here at Rudy's. I'm going to show you how this perfect Cleveland area dessert and Midwest dessert is made. We're going to show you how the sausage is made coming up after the break. Not with actual sausage, of course, although I'd probably try that too. Frankly, I think it'd be pretty good with sausage in it. I'm not above it. Can we make some with sausage? They're looking at kielbasa. They've got them with kielbasa. Stay tuned after the break.
I feel like people would get on board with that. I do.
Welcome back to What's New. Time to see what's clicking in Cleveland. Stephanie Haney is in again. Hi, Steph.
Hello, Jay. Happy Monday. You know, there is no downtime for Cleveland Browns cornerback Denzel Ward this offseason on his mission to promote heart health. He is at it again. Today, through his Make Them Know Your Name Foundation, he tells us he's donating $150,000 to University Hospital's Harrington Heart and Vascular Institute. UH will use the money to start community education about heart health, and this is a cause that's very close to Denzel Ward's heart after losing his dad a few years ago to an unexpected heart attack. Earlier this month, Ward's foundation donated 3 defibrillators to the Great Lakes Science Center. Doing good work. Now, if the Cleveland Auto Show isn't already in your plans this week, here are 2 new reasons to go. Basketball fans can meet Cleveland Cavalier and NBA All-Star Jarrett Allen tomorrow, Tuesday, March 1st, at the Mazda display from 7 to 8 p.m. And football fans will be able to see Browns running back Kareem Hunt. That's coming up on Wednesday, March 2nd. He will be at the Buick GMC display from 7 to 8:30 p.m. But do not bring your jerseys. They will be handing out autographs on provided cards and provided cards only. And it's first come, first served, so get there and get in line. And we have all heard that relationships are work, right? Well, if you're up for it, but you're at a loss for where to start, you can listen to my 3 Things to Know podcast this week. Cleveland Clinic psychologist Dr. Susan Albers shares 5 scientifically proven ways to make our relationships stronger. Like these, for example. Creating the 5-to-1 ratio of positive to negative experiences, the number of times we should try to touch our partners, and the very counterintuitive idea of how time apart is really good for building those bonds. That was kind of surprising. You know, we had a previous podcast where we talked with Dr. Gary Chapman on the 5 love languages, Jay and Betsy. So some familiar ideas here, but some of these surprising to me. The 8 meaningful touches thing, who knew there was a set number of times you should try to kind of actually physically connect with your partner. So nice target like that.
You should have seen Jay's face. You were reading and Jay was like,
well, my first reaction was, wait, there's a limit? There's a number?
There's a minimum. There's a minimum. We aim higher.
So there's no ceiling, but there is a minimum.
It was such a guy moment. It was fantastic.
Yeah, it caught me off guard for sure.
I just see Betsy out of the corner of my eye losing it. I'm like, what's going on over there? Who knows?
As usual.
Well, it sounds like I need to watch that, so I'm going to check it out.
I'll send you.
Thanks so much. Well, tomorrow is Fat Tuesday, and in Cleveland, that means bring on the Paczki. Hundreds of Clevelanders will line up at their favorite bakery to get their fill.
Yeah, our Mike Polk Jr. is live at Rudy Strudel as they prepare for a very busy day. Mike, have you had any yet, and if so, how many?
I'm waiting because I didn't want to appear, too well-nourished on camera, but I am definitely going to dig in soon. I am here at Rudy's, and I'm with the incomparable Lydia, who's been kind enough to welcome us back into the kitchen and actually get to see some of the magic being made here. What are we making?
Oh my gosh, you know exactly what we're making. It is Paczki. It is Paczki time, Cleveland.
I've also heard Paczkis, though. Is that wrong or right? You don't like Paczki. You're allowed to say it.
And I don't, you're not allowed to say the D word here.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's offensive.
I totally understand. Okay, so no Paczki, just Paczki.
Paczki.
And give me what flavor this is right here.
Okay,
what we got?
This is mocha. We got mocha. We got marshmallows, some strawberry, Huff Bakery, super Cleveland style.
You have 30 flavors, right? Is that right? 31 flavors, including a new flavor, I understand. What's the new flavor?
The Porco Hurricane, my friends.
What is the Porco Hurricane?
The Porco here. So this is Warsaw. I'd like to introduce you to New Orleans.
Oh, I see.
New Orleans.
Okay,
this is Warsaw.
It's 2 great things coming together.
It's Paczki Grab.
Lovely. Why does Cleveland have such a love affair with these things this time of year?
Well, we're so blessed to be able to have this amazing enclave of Eastern European traditions here. All my friends in Arizona or California, sorry guys, you're not getting a real Paczki.
Sorry.
You gotta come here.
This is where you get the real deal. And it really is, because I just noticed another article recently that mentioned this one is the top place to get Paczki in Cleveland on Fat Tuesday, not to make you blush or anything. And you also have you have a whole celebration going on out here too. You're doing it right. Tell us about the celebration tomorrow.
I mean, where do I begin? We're
so
starting
much.
5 a.m. We've got Fatheads Brewery. We've got polka instructors coming here.
Polka instructors.
Yeah, they'll teach. If you don't know how to polka, you're gonna learn tomorrow when you're standing in line.
I might teach them a thing or two. I won't. I'm terrible at it. But
I think you've got to come and learn.
This is ground zero for Fat Tuesday tomorrow, though, right?
I think so. In my world,
all
yes.
kinds of fun stuff. And these ladies, you and this gentleman, you all wanted to say hi to Betsy. Go ahead. You guys say hi, Betsy. Hi, Betsy.
Hi,
Go ahead. You can say hi to Betsy. Everyone gets to say hi to Betsy.
I love you. You know that.
This is every live hit I have to do. They're like, do you know her? What's she like? It's awful. But congratulations. Happy Fat Tuesday. And we hope that it's a big success for you this year. And come out and celebrate, right, Cleveland? Go ahead, tell them.
Happy Paczki Day, 100 lat, Slava Ukraini, Slava Heroyam.
I won't know until later on if she just ridiculed me, but back to you guys. Happy Fat Tuesday, everyone.
Whatever she said, it was authentic.
Absolutely. And thanks, Mikey. Please tell Lydia I said hello, and
I'm
everybody
hungry.
here says hello, too.
Will you look at
Love
that?
It is so good.
How long do you think he's back to the station?
Breads and
with a full
pierogies.
box?
They have so much stuff there. I don't know.
We'll be right back while we talk.
Yes. Check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Brandon's microphone from Akron, where we were talking about a police. Thank you.
Don't know where she is at, but I'm here. Kelly, 1, 2, 3, A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
Yes, I do. I want to do live shots at bakeries, Al. I'm just saying that, okay?
Hey, Al, testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4.
These are special occasion meetings.
Hey, mic check. 1, 2, 3, 4. Laura Queso's mic. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Today's show is something good comes from the Rescue Village in Novelty, Ohio. A few days ago, it posted on Facebook that it needed bedding for animals. Well, they updated their followers saying they are now overwhelmed with the generosity of their community. They received so much bedding that they've run out of room to store it. So if you have items that you'd like to donate, Rescue Village asks that you wait a few weeks or check in with other shelters that may have a need. Look at that.
That is overwhelming.
That
You're right.
is.
Ask and you shall receive.
Yeah. So many people loving on the animals.
Why not? Yeah. There are days where they are the bright spot of your day.
But only 5 to 8 touches.
Yeah, minimum pets. We're out of time. Back tomorrow at 5. We hope to see you then.
3 News at 6 with Russ and Laura starts right now.
Now at 6, in custody. A man accused of hitting 2 women and using a racial slur, all caught on camera. The new charges out today, and what could be ahead now that the FBI is involved. Also, crisis in Ukraine. New sanctions issued as tensions rise and hundreds of thousands of refugees flee the country. We have the latest from overseas and how you can help from here at home. Market proposals. The Cleveland City Council is set to hear details on ideas for the West Side Market. We'll tell you what's in store. And delayed start, where talks between Major League Baseball and the union stand at this hour with the start of the regular season now in jeopardy.
Live from WKYC Studios, this is 3 News at 6 with Russ Mitchell and Laura Queso.
And good evening. Thanks for being with us.
We begin tonight with new developments from Akron, where a 23-year-old man is now in custody after yelling racial slurs and punching a woman in the face outside of a bar in the Highlands Square neighborhood.
This entire incident was caught on video. We want to warn you now, the footage is disturbing. Brandon Simmons details the additional charges he's facing today and why the FBI is now involved.
And he was clearly intoxicated, so I knew that was a sign. I was like, this isn't good.
23-year-old Cameron Morgan was bar hopping in Akron's Highland Square neighborhood, as many do on a Saturday. But this was a night she'll never forget.
As we get closer, we all hear that he's being super, racially motivated.
Morgan could hear 26-year-old Andrew Walls yelling racial slurs outside a bar. She tried to get him to stop as she headed to her next stop. That's when Walls called her a derogatory name and sucker punched her before taking a swing at another woman just out of frame.
Flew me back. He was a big guy, and I just put my hands up on my mouth, and I was just I just looked and I'm like, whoa, there's blood, and I'm just kind of in a daze.
Morgan suffered a busted lip and a concussion. Police today say incidents like this won't be tolerated in their community.
You know, to see this video, it impacts our entire community. I've looked on social media, the comments, the outrage, and as a police department and as a community, we are in agreement that it's outrageous.
Walls is facing 2 assault charges and another charge for carrying a weapon while intoxicated. Today, the Council on American Islamic Relations called on law enforcement to bring hate charges, saying Walls is also a leader of the local Proud Boys chapter. In 2019, the Akron Beacon-Journal photographed Walls on the campus of Kent State University, where he claimed to be vice president of the Akron-Canton chapter of the Proud Boys. Police didn't confirm the connection, but said their investigation is ongoing.
We reached out to the FBI, and they're going to have a representative that we're going to share information with to see if this reaches something to a federal level. We're pursuing all avenues.
I just hope that, he gets what he deserves.
Now, Walls did turn himself into police earlier this afternoon around 2 o'clock. He's going to be booked into jail, and then police are going to question him about this incident and also about his past. Of course, we'll bring you any additional details that we learn later on. Russ?
Okay, Brandon Simmons in Akron. Thank you.
Now to the crisis in Ukraine. As global tensions escalate over the war and Russia's president references his nuclear arsenal, President Biden says Americans do not need to worry about nuclear war. NBC's Alice Barr has the latest now from Washington.
Today in the Ukraine crisis, destruction and diplomacy. Ukrainian officials pushing for a ceasefire in talks with a Russian delegation, though making little headway today. Here in Washington, President Biden speaking with top allies after rolling out tougher sanctions against Russia's central bank, the latest in a global economic assault that sent the Russian economy reeling, its currency collapsing. Germany joining other Western nations sending weapons to help Ukraine. As Moscow is increasingly cut off from the rest of the world, concerns are growing over how President Vladimir Putin will react. Already, Putin has put his country's nuclear deterrent forces on high alert. President Biden refusing to respond in kind, firmly answering no when asked today if Americans should be worried about nuclear war.
What everybody should be doing around the world is taking steps to reduce the rhetoric, reduce the tension.
The United Nations General Assembly holding its first emergency meeting in decades to condemn the Russian aggression and seek peace.
If Ukraine does not survive, we cannot be surprised if democracy fails next.
Civilian casualties are mounting, with reports of massive Russian shelling and Russian troops advancing toward the capital. Ukrainian forces defying expectations, holding their ground.
They have made it very difficult for the Russians to continue to move ahead.
Across the world, an outpouring of support. Americans gathering supplies for donations, pouring Russian vodka down the drain.